Do you use soap on cast iron? Can you use soap on cast iron? Well, when it comes to washing and cleaning cast iron skillets, is it wrong to use a little soap and water on cast iron? Well, here we are at the sink. Now, I've got two skillets here, and I'm curious whether we use soap on cast iron or not. That's a question I get often, and so I wanted to address that. Now, I've got a number 7 3-notch Lodge here, and that I just pulled out of the lye tank, and I want to get this cleaned up, which it's stripped completely down. All the seasoning is completely gone, so we definitely want to take and put that in the sink and wash it real good. That way we can get it ready to season, you know, for the first time, or re-season I should say, since we've stripped it completely. And so we'll go ahead and get that washed real good like that right there, like we normally do. And of course what we're using is Dawn dishwashing liquid, which is a mild detergent, but it's actually a grease cleaning. It says it's 4 times more grease cleaning power, so it's definitely made for grease. But the reason why a lot of people say you don't want to use soap on cast iron is because years ago all cast iron was made with lye. And like I just said with this skillet here, I just have taken it out of the lye tank, and lye will strip all your seasoning completely off of cast iron. As you can see, this is stripped down to bare metal. So that's the reason why people always say don't use soap on cast iron, because years ago it was made with lye. And Dawn dishwashing detergent is not made with lye. It's just a mild detergent. And so what about new cast iron? Now here I've got a 12-inch Lodge, a new Lodge with this assist handle, and I cooked bacon in it this morning, if you can imagine that. And so we got all the grease wiped out, but there's still some in there. So is it okay to put this down in here and rinse it out with soap? Is it going to hurt my seasoning? Is it bad to use a little bit of soap on your cast iron, even if it's seasoned? Not a mild detergent, it's not going to hurt it one little bit. Now you don't want to let this thing set and soak for hours, but there's nothing wrong with just taking and rinsing your soap out, or rinsing your grease out, your skillet out, and then you just want to wipe it dry like you normally do, and put it on the stove, heat it up, and get it ready to maintain it with a coat of seasoning, a coat of oil. And so that's what we're going to do with that. So there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But, you know, many people say, oh, it's just taboo to use any kind of soap on a cast iron skillet. But as you can see, it hadn't pulled any of the seasoning off of this skillet. It's just cleaned the grease out. So, you know, it kind of reminds me of a story I heard one time about a young lady that got married, and she asked her mother, she said, I'm going to make Thanksgiving dinner, and she said, what size pot do I need? And her mother said, oh, you've got to have this certain size pot, because that's exactly what I've always used, and that's what my mom always used, your grandmother. So the lady went out and she bought that size pot. She went back and got her a turkey, and she went to cooking her turkey, and the turkey barely would fit in the pot. So anyway, she got Thanksgiving dinner made and everything, and they were sitting around at the table, and she was curious. She said, well, I just want to find out why y'all use this same kind of pot. And her mother said, well, it's because that's what my mom always used, and so that's what I used, and that's why I told you to go ahead and use that certain pot. So she got around her grandmother, and she said, Grandma, why is it that we need to use this certain size pot? And her grandmother said, oh, honey, when me and your grandpa got married, we had very little money, and so all we could afford was this certain size pot. So we went and bought this certain size pot, and that's what we made Thanksgiving dinner with, because it was just me and him. We didn't have to cook for anybody. So The moral of the story is, just because your mom or your grandmother says you have to do it a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that it's certainly right. Now, I know a lot of people's mother and grandmother said do not use soap on cast iron, but even Lodge, the manufacturer of this 12-inch cast iron skillet and cast iron in general, one of the oldest manufacturers in the United States, says it's okay to use a little bit of soap on cast iron. So before you guys throw me under the bus, you know, I just want to hear, do you use soap on cast iron? Is it okay or is it taboo? We'd love to hear your story. Be sure and leave us a comment, and we look forward to all your answers and your questions about it and your comments. So y'all have a great day now. It's Mike over here at Mr. Cast Iron. We'll see you. Bye-bye.